Hello, this is Jeff Nager with AMD World Championship, and today we're in Sturgis, South Dakota at the load-in at the AMD World Championship, and I've got Dave from Chopper City with me, and we've got kind of a luxury liner here, Dave. It's a really cool looking bike, but before we talk about the bike, tell me a little bit about your business.
Well, we have a manufacturing company. We've been manufacturing bikes now for about the last 4 years, custom building bikes for the last 15. And that's about it. We cater to whatever the customer wants.
Well, is this a customer bike or is this one specifically for the show?
This one actually, I built this for a gentleman from New Zealand that has a company in Alabama. And he would come to my shop and we would talk about it, and so this is his dream bike, more or less.
Well, it's a beautiful bike, and I see it's got his girlfriend on the tank.
That girl caused more trouble than you would even imagine, because my airbrush guy, he can do anything. He's phenomenal. But when the customer comes to you and says, hey, I want this girl's face, I want this girl's attitude, I want this girl's boobs, and I want this girl's pose, it was, my poor airbrush guy just about fainted. He was like, oh man, I can't do that, Dave, I can't do it. But he did it.
Well, it looks like, now that I think about it, that's my girlfriend.
It's everybody's girlfriend.
Hey, but let's move on. Let's start talking about the build itself. It's really interesting wheel selection. Talk about the front end and what you're doing there.
Well, the front end is just your, plain run-of-the-mill inverted, because it's just fits the style of this bike. The wheels now, those were a little trickier. We wanted three-piece wheels, but we didn't want three-piece wheels. So we took some solid blanks and made them look like three-piece wheels, which we found out is harder to do than using three-piece wheels.
So you did took a shortcut that took a long way around.
Exactly.
Well, it does look cool. It's those wheels really pop. Anything else going on the front end you want to refer to?
Mostly it's just the headlight was from Headwinds. That's their new grille that they did that fit the bike perfect. The knockoffs we did on the front wheel and the rear wheel, and we kept it all the way through the whole bike as part of the theme. And that's about it on the front end.
Let's talk about the controls and what we're looking at with the Speedo and the hand controls.
Yeah, the handlebars are custom, something we've never done before. And the controls are JX, Joker Machine. I love them, they work really good. And we just put everything on the handlebars and kept it as clean as possible and simple as possible.
Now your sheet metal work, that's a stretch tank. Talk a little bit about the tank and the drop seat.
Well, the tank, it was a little tricky. It was trying to find one that had the exact shape that we wanted. We couldn't, so we took a tank and made it into the tank that we wanted, so it worked pretty good. The drop seat is probably about as low a drop as you ever want to go, and you sit into this bike, not on it. It's just really comfortable seating. Real nice ride.
It looks like it's got nice ergonomics. Must be very comfortable.
Oh, it's really comfortable. Really nice ride.
And what are we looking at as far as the induction system? I understand the name of the bike is Stack. That's because we got some stacks.
Yeah, we have 4 Wimmer machine stacks, and we have 2 Super G carburetors. It was a request of the customer. He wanted a carburetor going out both sides of the bike, but not like normal. We've done plenty of times where we run, 2 separate intakes. He wanted them both to work off the same intake. So we had to custom build an intake manifold and then mount the 2 Super Gs, make mounts on both sides. It was pretty much a nightmare that we didn't know if it was going to work or not. Fired the bike up the first time, it ran like a champ.
So does it make more horsepower because of that, because you're flowing a lot more gasoline?
Oh, anytime the more air in and more gas and more air out, the more horsepower. It just,
So you've obviously used this engine before. So with that new stack system, how's it feel compared to what you normally build?
it feels a little peppier. I've done the dual carburetors before, and doing it this way, it actually does seem to have a little more top end
Yeah.
than the old way was one carburetor for each head, and their separate intake manifold. And it seemed like running one carburetor. You didn't really see an advantage to it. But this way, you actually are running a lot more. You're sucking a lot more air into the engine. Like I said, more air in, more horsepower out.
It's a good combination. Talk about your engine and drivetrain.
The engine's Total Performance TP121. I love their engines. They've always worked really well. You pull them out of the box, throw them in the bike, they work. I've never really had a problem with them. So I stick to what I like. The transmissions, Baker, it's not the torque box, it's their power box. Nice, just mainly did it for the look and it's a Baker, it works. And the belt drive, I kept it narrow to shave weight, of course, from the left side of the bike. Since this is a left side drive, 300 tire bike, you're trying to balance everything out. And it balanced out really nice. I was expecting it to be a lot more left side heavy, and it's not at all.
Now this is a single-sided swing arm, correct?
Correct.
Now, what kind of riding dynamics does a single-sided swing arm give a rider?
You notice no difference whatsoever. Everybody's always worried, oh, the torque, the torque, can it handle the torque? Yeah, they can handle the torque.
And the suspension in the rear, is that a soft tail suspension or how is it set up?
Correct, it's a soft tail. I tend to only build soft tails. Most of the guys I build for, like my age, they're not into rigids. And I think building rigids is a little too easy anyway. There's no challenge. So I run one of my favorite suspensions is the SAS from Custom Cycle Controls, because it has the compressor and everything built into the shock. So you don't have to hide a compressor and this and that. You drop it in, put the 4 bolts in, wire it, and you're done.
Now, do you get any more clearance or range with a single-sided swing arm in a soft tail, or is it identical to what you'd see in stock?
I've been building single-sided bikes for a lot of years. Like, I think I built my first single-sided about 15 years ago. And I like them because it leaves you open to doing your sheet metal. You're not restricted by, all those tubes sticking out the back on a conventional swing arm. Single-sided just flows so much better. And I mean, when you have all your wheels showing, you can't beat it. It's just always a good thing.
It's very impactful.
Yeah, but as far as performance, I don't think it makes any difference at all.
Well, I know as standard soft tail, you get about an inch on a range in your suspension. I was curious if the single-sided would give you a little more, or if it's identical.
It's pretty much, travel and suspension is only limited to what the builder gives it. I mean, I could make this thing look like a dirt bike if I wanted to, with the same suspension. Mm-hmm. It's just how you jack it up. The hard part is that happy medium between how it looks down and how it looks up in ride mode. It's so hard. That's the hardest part of building a bike, is making it so when you jack it up 2 inches, it still looks great. And when you slam it, of course it looks good. But yeah, that's all it is. The travel is built into the bike. So
what was the most challenging aspect of this build?
I think the frame, because I started with a Pro Street frame that I grabbed off the rack for a twin cam. And if you notice, this isn't a twin cam, it's an Evo. So I had to gut the twin cam stuff out of the frame, put Evo mounts in it, and we cut the down tube, the backbone, because I wanted them. What I've been building lately is what we call our mid chopper. A lot of guys are leaning away from the big tall choppers now, but they don't necessarily want a Pro Street. So what I've came up with is a midway chopper. It's a chopper, but it's not a chopper. It's not a Pro Street. You know, it's an in between. Gives you the best of both worlds, basically.
Right. And how long did it take for you to pull this bike together from inception to finish?
I can't tell you. I'd be embarrassed.
Okay.
It took longer than I wanted it to. Normally a bike like this, I would knock it out in 4 to 6 months. It took me longer than that. And like I said, I'm embarrassed to even say. And it's only because, it was more because of the economy.
Sure.
And it's funny, when I have 12 builds on the books going at one time, I get them done faster than if I have 4 builds on the books. Don't ask me why that is. It seems like things just flow faster, things get done, and you're not interrupted as much, and it's...
Well, they say more better is more better.
More better, yep.
Well, if someone was out there looking at the bike and wanted to get more information about your company and how they might get a bike, can you give us your telephone and your web address?
Yeah, it'd be choppercityusa.com. That's choppercityusa.com, and our number is 888-721-1969. That's 888-721-1969.
Well, Dave, I want to thank you for your time and good luck in the show today.
I hope so. Hope to have lots of luck.